Yo, it's your boy Rondo back here for another video, and today we're going to be reacting to a Jubilee video. I decided that Jubilee, I think, is a great YouTube channel that is pretty good to react to in terms of the videos and topics that they have. So I'm just going to choose a random video. This video is, does all Gen Z think the same? Question mark. So I was born in 2003, so I am considered a part of Generation Z, and I'm curious to see the kind of questions Jubilee is going to ask. And I'm curious to see what these people's answers are going to be. You know, I'm considering that most of them are going to be around my age. So between 16 to like 22 maybe, I would say. Either way, let's just take a look.
Skinny jeans are out of style. I get my news from YouTube. 3, 2, 1, go.
I just somewhat disagree because I try not to just, stay on YouTube because it can be a lot of disinformation, but I also feel like, I follow a lot of political YouTubers and I feel like their perspectives are different than what's on the mainstream because like 3 corporations own all of the media.
Social news,
yeah, good point.
100% easily. But like if it's like some political stuff, I have
don't like Twitter that much.
To like New York Times, even Fox and stuff, just so that I get a perspective from everyone. And I tend to go ahead and like focus more on like the journalism stuff. And YouTube is like the headlines, but I don't click the video and like deliberately watch it until I've known the facts.
The ability of Twitter to get, opinions out there from people who aren't political pundits is really valuable. And, when big things happen, Twitter usually hears about it first.
Okay. She's got a good point. Yeah, like Twitter does, have all the big news, right away, very quickly. And I guess I can agree that, it does get most, if not everybody's opinions out very easily. The biggest problem I have with Twitter is just some of the online community that they have is pretty toxic, the way they cancel people. And also, people on Twitter can't fully express themselves in a 240-character tweet, because I'm sure Twitter limits the amount of characters you can type. You can't type a whole essay. You can only type a paragraph or less, which is definitely not enough to express people's opinions on, racial discrimination or economic inequality or serious, problems that need to be fixed. Serious problems that really need solutions, you know what I mean? I feel like opinions can't be fully expressed within such a small, tweet, you know what I mean? Within limited characters, you can't fully express yourself. So that's the one really big problem that I have with Twitter. Twitter does get the news out, but I feel like it's just not reliable in terms of what people tweet. The way people conduct themselves on a platform. Twitter can be very, very fucking toxic.
And I feel like we should be taught this in schools. We're a whole new era. Like we grew up with like tablets and laptops, whereas in like previous generations didn't, which allows us obviously to have more diverse opinions, but I think that should be taught in school as well.
Do your guys'
Very
parents
true.
ever just call you and be like, did you know this happened? You're like, yeah, it happened like 5 hours ago. And you're like, did you just find out now?
It's usually fake news with my mom.
Oh my
gosh. It's usually fake news with my mom.
She gets news from Facebook.
Same,
Literally, she
same,
calls me.
same,
She's like, did you hear about this? Like, mom, that's right. And she's like, it is.
Yeah.
Like my mom, when she was on Instagram, she just was like, she was seeing the wrong stuff. And then she was like, the vaccine, those microchips. And I was like, Mom.
I think it's also important to think about like why people
No way.
that. Like, yeah, it's like stupid and it's funny to make fun of, but like people are afraid.
I'm not gonna lie, in the age of the internet, there's a lot of misspread of misinformation. That's a very big problem. And I feel like, big social media platforms need to be careful about, how people spread misinformation. Once again, I feel like it's a difficult thing to be able to regulate. People for thousands of years, even before the internet, everybody always tells a lie, bro. Everybody's always lying to each other, to benefit from each other in some type of way. You know what I mean? And it's only getting difficult or even more difficult with the internet, because now you got millions and millions of people on the internet, spreading misinformation. So I don't know how that's gonna, pan out in the future, or the consequences of what's gonna happen of, misinformation on the internet, or how it's gonna be handled. I hate an internet that's very regulated by the government, but at the same time, I hate an internet that's just spreading straight lies. You know what I mean?
My parents and I agree on political
This is a big one.
social issues. 3, 2, 1.
I feel like my generation leans more towards the left. They're very, very liberal. And many people's parents and grandparents and stuff lean more or less towards the conservative side. Depends, what you grew up around and stuff. But I feel like all these, people right here, looking at them, I don't know where they got these kids from. I swear they must have gotten all these kids from California, bro. These kids come from California or some shit. Oh, some of them agree, some of them disagree with their parents.
My parents like raised me again on the whole thing of like look at every single side, and I guess it didn't go necessarily their way.
And share my opinion, but when it comes to that, my parents will yell at me, they'll get mad at me, and we'll get into like such large arguments. It's even gotten to the point of one time where I've gotten into arguments with my parents with like, you're gonna have to move out if you don't like agree with these things. And it's like, I understand what you're saying and all, but you're telling me that if I don't do what you're saying, what you think is correct, I'm not allowed to think what I think is correct because what you think is correct is concrete.
Kind of similar but different. Like I'm actually grateful that my parents and I have different political opinions, because I think it's kind of forced me to try and see the other side and try to understand why they think a certain way.
Sometimes.
All right, so I like the way that dude is thinking, because he's got a good point. You know what I mean? When you have people that you care about and you love think in such a different way, you want to understand why they think that way, which means you sympathize and you actually understand the other side. So I feel like that's a big problem that, people who are liberals and people who are conservative don't get. I don't know why they can't try and, understand each other's perspective instead of, rioting or, getting mad over each other and, you know what I mean, just being so separated and divided, when I have views that overlap conservatively and I have views that overlap, on the liberal side of things. But that's besides the fact that, you know what I mean, like, every person, is unique in their own way. Every person has complicated, and everybody has their own views and stuff. So, like, once again, it's always good to see another perspective. It's always good to understand more than just yourself.
I have felt depressed.
Oh,
3,
here we go.
2.
My whole generation is going to say agree. If they don't, then I'm going to be surprised, because a lot of kids these days, bro, I feel like they be going emo or depressed or some shit like that. Like, it's understandable, though, you know what I mean? It's understandable. Life is tough, you know what I mean? Some people get to that point, you know what I mean? It's not to say that I haven't been there, you know what I mean?
1, go.
See, I knew it, bro. They all fucking agreed. They all agreed. The one thing, though, is I feel like it's just taking out of the term of depressed. Like, there's people that are clinically depressed, like, literally their brain functions and they're just depressed because they just are like that clinically. So I feel like what they're saying, what they're agreeing to being depressed, is that they were temporarily depressed, is only for a certain amount of time. Because if you're depressed for a very, very long time, it is possible that you're clinically depressed and that you need to take pills, that you need to go to the doctor and stuff. But if you're like a normal person, every normal person has been sad, and if they've been sad, then at some point they might have also have felt very depressed, maybe for a few days or who knows how long, but definitely not like years on end. Because if it's years on end, you're clinically depressed. You need to get some help. But if you're just depressed, you should still get some help. But I'm just saying.
There are a lot of points where it is romanticized, and I think it's a difficult struggle. And also I think like within like the black community, there also is just not a lot of attention to mental health at all. Obviously there's points where I feel flustered and I feel like, oh, like everything's crumbling around me, and that's like a very common human thing.
People want to talk about how depressed they are until you're like, hey, I haven't taken a shower in 4 weeks and I can't get out of bed and I haven't been eating food. And they're like, ew, that's gross. It's like, that's what depression is.
Now that's real depression right there. That is true depression right there. When somebody isn't functioning normal, when somebody isn't doing something that they would normally do in a day, that's how you know you're getting depressed. You know what I mean? If you're sitting in your bed all day not doing shit, you're not taking showers, you're not fucking brushing your teeth and stuff, that's how you know somebody's truly depressed and they're really struggling mentally. You know what I mean? I don't like it when people say, oh, I'm depressed and shit, but they're functioning normal as a human being, you know what I mean? Like, they're doing everything they need to do. Just because you feel like your life sucks doesn't mean you're depressed or anything. It just means you gotta make it better for yourself,
Especially with our generation, what ends up happening is that some small thing happens and we're depressed. The term is just used so loosely.
Yeah, okay,
When you say comments
okay.
like that, it takes away the power, in a sense, from like
Yeah.
people that actually are seeking help.
So I'm about to have a really vulnerable moment.
Oh god. Oh god. I don't know if I want to hear this guy fucking cry. But anyways, what that woman had just said, she had a really good point right there, that the term is used very loosely. So I agree that the term is used loosely, and it should be careful about how it is used. I'm not going to say I'm depressed, because I'm not.
So my whole life, I have been so bullied, and words hurt so much. And 6 months ago, I almost took my life.
Yeah, so mental health is a very big thing. I don't know if I want to hear this guy go through his vulnerable moment, because this sounds pretty fucking sad. But make sure you guys get help. You know, if you guys are struggling in life, you know, you guys feel like you can't handle it on your own, talk to a family member, talk to a friend. If you got nobody, shit, just call the suicide hotline, man, because, you know, killing yourself just definitely isn't the way, you know, and people struggle, you know, in many different ways mentally, you know. And mental health is definitely important, just as how it is important to have good physical health. You know, it's important to have good spiritual health. You know, it's good to just be healthy, okay? So if you guys are struggling right now, and you guys are watching this video, please do get some help.
I
Yeah.
am optimistic about the future.
Mm.
3,
Let's see if they're optimistic or
1,
not.
go.
Oh, okay. What the heck?
Personally, it's in my nature to not be optimistic because I
Oh,
think a
we
lot
got our-
of
we found our
people in
pessimist.
generation are very nihilistic. I try not to like view it like that because it's very like deterministic. Like, well, the world's going to hell. Like, we can't do anything. And if you believe that, then like you're not fighting for like a better world, and you're not fighting for change.
I'm
got
very
a
much
point.
with Sarah on the point where our generation is very cynical, very nihilistic. We like to just like assume that things can't be fixed because in the past they just never were. I don't know. I think I'm very optimistic for the future because I believe as we become more educated and we have more resources to certain things and information, we can do great things, but we just have to believe that we can or else it won't happen.
Now I'm feeling sad about saying someone disagree. I just was thinking about this in like the climate perspective and like social media, how it's been used so negatively. When I think about those two major things, I can't see it stopping anywhere.
It's a little unimaginable. It's like you can't,
Yeah, no,
it's
like I want to be
incomprehensible.
positive,
Yeah.
of course, and I want the change to happen, but like where does it start?
I try to be positive, and I always say, like, if there's something you don't like, we can work on it and fix it. And I think that this generation in particular is really good at that. Like, Gen Z is crazy. Like, we get things done. The impact we've had with like TikTok even, like, yeah.
You think we make an impact with TikTok and social media, guys? I don't know. I feel like a majority media is just memes and people joking, which isn't really that important. I mean, I somewhat agree. I just don't know exactly how TikTok has exactly helped, you know, I guess in the real world. I just need more examples, just some more proof, I guess.
On a more societal point of view, I feel very good that like change will occur whether we like it or not. That's just how society is. We progress.
That is officially a wrap. Great job, you guys.
Alright, well, what I got to say to, you know, this question, you know, being optimistic about the future is I'm fairly optimistic about, you know, people who are willing to make their lives better in the future. You know what I mean? There's always people that are going to go down a worse path. You know, some people don't choose it, some people do choose it. You know what I mean? It's just things always fluctuate, and the only thing that I do know is that change is a constant in everything. You know, change, and change. So I must just say, yeah, I'm pretty optimistic about the future. I feel like things will just keep progressing as we, you know, technology progresses and we get smarter and shit and more educated. So, does all Gen Z think the same? Fuck no! So yeah, Gen Z does definitely not all think the same. Hell no. You know, most of their opinions differ from mine personally. Like, the whole skinny jeans thing, not much of an important question that they ask. I wear fucking skinny jeans, dog. I ain't getting no baggy jeans. Should I? Would I look good in baggy jeans? I don't know. Well, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Other than that, drop a like. I just slapped my mic. Drop a like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.